What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Movies That Make You podcast. Season 2 is in full gear, and so we are super excited for what we got going on this season. We still have our weekly Prepisodes where we discuss movies to watch in preparation for a new release hitting theaters. I got my buddy POPpaGoss on those each and every week. Those drop on Mondays at 6 a.m. Also, we have our Creators Conversations. This is where we're interviewing people from the business and beyond to discuss what they do to create and how they create their art. So be on the lookout for that. We're also doing our monthly watch-alongs where we pick a movie to watch. We live stream our conversation on YouTube. This week, we've got top 5 Disney films with Erin and Kyle from ZombieCON Volume 1. You know them. You love them. They're going to be back. A little bit off the zombie brand. Talk about our favorite Disney films, all in preparation for the live-action Moana hitting theaters Friday. We hope you also check out our website at moviesthatmakeyoupodcast.com. There you can see all of our social links. You can listen to the podcast. You can watch the podcast. We also have our merch store. You can find tons of merch for Movies That Make You and our friends. We also have a link to our letterbox where you can see all the movies that we watch in preparation for the new releases, but also the movies that make you laugh, the movies that make you cry, the movies that make you scream, and everything in between. So before we get to this week's episode, let's check out what we got coming up on the Movies That Make You podcast. On July 7th, we've got our OKC Horror Con Prep live stream. We're going to be joined by some friends as we discuss the upcoming con and all the things we're excited for. Next week, we've got Papa Knot back in the house again for the Odyssey Prepisode. We're going to be talking about Troy, 300, and Oh Brother Where Art Thou. It's going to be an epic episode you do not want to miss. The week after that, we've got the Evil Dead series gearing up for Evil Dead Burn. We've invited Laser Wagon to be on the podcast for that week as we talk about all the previous Evil Dead movies. The week after that, we're welcoming Chris Valentine back on this show to talk about all the Spider-Man movies up until this point. We've got Brand New Day dropping in theaters that Friday, so we want to be prepared because they could throw anything at us. On July 31st, we've got our special double feature live watch, and it's going to be a first watch for me, and that is Escape from New York, and a first watch for everyone almost, Escape from LA. We hope you'll join us for this John Carpenter special. The week after that, we've got a very special guest, stuntman, coordinator, company owner, Alex Armbruster. We had him on for a creators conversation. He's going to be back to prepare for Ice Cream Man dropping in theaters, the new Eli Roth film. So we're going to be talking about the original Ice Cream Man. We're going to be talking about Thanksgiving, which Alex starred in. We're also going to be talking about Hostel and Cabin Fever, both from Eli Roth, because you know what? We all scream for ice cream. Hope those episodes excite you. So without further ado, let's get to the podcast. We are back with another episode of the Movies That Make You podcast. I'm clapping, I'm snapping. I'm just excited to have everything that's going on right now. I got my buddy POPpaGoss over here. How you doing, dude?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
Doing well. Like I said, I'm excited because we've got our good friends from the ZombieCON Volume 1. That's how we met them. They're doing so much more now. Welcome back to the show, Kyle Valle, and Erin Áine is going to join us a little bit later. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you both so much for having us back.
Heck yeah.
Happiest place on the internet. So I'm ready to get into these things.
Nice.
I like it. We'll do a little Disney reference there because we are going to be talking about top 5 Disney films from Kyle and Erin. Josh and I are going to save our top 5 till the end and just kind of do them as honorable mentions. But we want to hear about their favorite Disney films. This kind of came up because when we were doing our One Cut of the Dead live stream, we talked a little bit about the 90s animated films, and they were just like on fire. Like we were so lucky to have those films growing up. And so I thought it'd be cool to have you guys on, but it's because we got the live action Moana is dropping in theaters this Friday. And so you need to go see it, and we're going to prepare you for it by talking about our favorite Disney films, animated films. Kyle, I know you've got some cool stuff going on. So before we jump into that, I want to give you a chance to share a little bit how life's treating you these days.
Oh, God, that is a double-edged sort of a question. Professionally, I feel like it's pretty good. Actually, I've got a little book that probably summarizes my life very well. It's a book for directors, and it says, you know, being a director is like managing life when your hair's on fire. No, the set's on fire. No, everything's on fire. So
Nice.
That's basically where I'm at. Luckily, we had an awesome opportunity with Screamify to do a vertical series called Autonomous, which is a little horror, a little drama about a Waymo-esque vehicle, basically hijacking its passengers and taking them on a an adventure, we'll call it.
Yes.
And in line with what we're talking about today, we're actually going to be doing a animated kids kind of wildlife geography, Natural Geographic type show with a
Okay.
Nice.
koala sidekick and like a Crocodile Dundee meets Steve Irwin, Australian adventurer type guy.
That's
awesome.
awesome. That's very cool. What's that? Is that going to be working with Scrimify, or is that working with somebody else?
No, that's actually something we're doing.
Okay.
We've been pretty screen free with our daughter. She's only 15 months, but leading into that kind of, well, speaking of,
Yes.
so I take it
Well, hello
Anya's
there.
asleep.
Yeah, speaking of, she's asleep, so you have a very wonderfully robust voice that carries really far. So just try and keep it just slightly down. The passion is great though.
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Welcome to
I think-
Tales of the
I think
Crypt.
half the house can hear you.
Tonight.
Yes. I've got her on the monitor. She's asleep. I
Nice.
won't take, the word hero, but I think it could apply.
Yes.
You're
Very
both
well.
heroes.
Yes. Well done.
Anybody who's a parent out there, you're heroes. May
It's
not
true.
feel like it sometimes, but you are.
I do
Very
feel
nice.
like Mufasa, often. The wildebeest may not take me down, but
God.
no,
Yeah, it's funny when
Erin is
when
the
I
MVP.
first Yeah, no, you're both MVPs. Before my son was born, I was kind of, leading up to like the last couple months, I was like freaking out. I was like, oh God, thinking about all this stuff that I didn't think about the first, 6, 7 months. And my buddy who has 2 kids now, he lives back in Colorado, but I was talking to him on text and I was having anxiety one night and he's like, bro, all you got to do is keep them alive. I know that sounds impossible, but like if you're keeping them alive, you're being a good parent. And I was like, okay, well, that sounds worse than it should be, but like that makes sense also. So
Yeah.
I'll go do that.
One step at a time, one
Yeah.
day at a time.
For sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Kyle was just sharing a little bit about the animated show that you guys are working on.
Yeah, I've been on almost completely Anya duty, so I got to give credit where credit's due. That's been almost all Kyle, but it's been awesome seeing it progress. And Anya and I have been giving our 2 cents every step of the way, especially Anya with the animated hosts, which has been fun.
Yeah.
He
Very
thought that
cool.
she was going to think that one of them was scary. He's like, I don't know, this guy's not quite ready. Looks a little odd. And she loved him. She's
That's
like
awesome.
all about it. You never know with kids.
No, I
Yeah.
love that.
So
My
how-
son's changed a bunch. Oh, sorry, real quick. My son, he's like, when he was a baby, there were cartoons that made him like laugh all the time. And now that he's, a little bit older, like he'll sometimes go back. Like Shrek is a great example. When he was a baby, thought it was hilarious, like especially like Shrek 1 and 2. Didn't watch it again until, this last like 6 months. And now like I come in, he found like distorted Shrek clips, like
yeah. So how is this show working, Kyle? Is it all animated? It sounded like it was maybe. How does it work?
So it's got 2 like Pixar looking like a host and a sidekick, and they're kind of set in a basically Pixar frame-ish type thing. And in the background of that frame is, actual footage of animals, right? Lots of stock footage and sourced clips, and it's it's equal parts entertainment and informational. Again, I'm just looking at the landscape of stuff, and not to knock Miss Rachel or anything like that, but I would like to stick my hand in that pot and see if we can't do it just a little tiny bit, I guess cleaner, just safe, just kind of like very down the center. This is just information without any kind of bias or kind of pushing. And I was a huge fan of Wild Discovery growing up. That was like my go-to show, and I know this is alien to anyone under the age of 20, but like there was a time where you had to actually wait for shows to like come up on TV to watch them. and you couldn't just pull up anything you wanted. And so Wild Discovery was like, oh God, it's here. It's that day of the week. Like, it was Thursday night, it would come out, and it was like, oh God, what animal is it tonight? And I would always wait for the sharks, and Shark Week was always cool. And then you get screwed with like a peacock or something, and it's like, oh, it's like, I'm
Yeah.
watching, but like, can I see a tiger like ripping something apart? Like, what's going
Yeah.
on here? So
Yeah, for sure. There was one guy that I used to watch as an adult, like in early 20s. We had a cable channel that I ended up landing on one time because he was trying to find a king cobra. He was like on his own, like in the jungles, trying to find a king cobra. And so I followed him on that, and then like I really liked it. It must have been his like tryout, like he did this all on his own, because then he ended up getting his own show on the Discovery Channel and had like weekly episodes. But it was like his special was like, and he found a king cobra that was like 14 feet long, and he got it to stand up for him, and he touched the top of his head. Like it was, I was just like, this guy is like amazing. But it was cool too because like even while he's journeying through the jungle and he's like not finding the king cobra, he's finding other animals and other wildlife, and he's telling you about those things. So it's fascinating even for us as adults to like get information and see things that you don't normally see in real life. Like I'm never going to go there and try to find the king cobra, but I can live
No.
vicariously through him, right?
Yeah. No, and actually, king cobras are super fascinating. Like, I don't think many people know. I'm sure you do, but they actually they primarily feed on snakes. So they
Mhm.
basically hunt snakes. So they're kind of like the best snake that there is. Even though they're super venomous, they're not really like dangerous to people. Like, obviously, if you corner one and you get it to
Right,
stand
right.
up and you touch it on its head, you're in a little bit more danger. But generally speaking, you're pretty safe. I feel like that old cartoon Ricky Tikki.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
yeah, it
Ricky
gives them
Tikki
like a
Talk, I think.
totally yeah, that one. It gives them a totally bad rap with the mongoose and everything. But anyway, I digress. We're getting into animation, right? That could almost be a Disney film.
Oh
Absolutely.
no, I'm sorry, Ricky Tikki Tavi.
There it is.
Tavi. Yeah, with the
Yeah,
two
that's the one.
snakes. Yeah.
Yep.
And I can always remember that snake's voice. It's like, I will kill the farmer who killed my wife. It's like it's monologuing its whole like
Yeah.
journey in, and Ricky Tikki's got like this very like hero anime voice, and he's like, no, I won't let him do that. I'll stop him.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess it was one of the writers for that was Rudyard Kipling. I think it was based off of like Rudyard Kipling's work.
Okay.
So that's pretty
That's
cool.
cool. Well, I mean, he
Yeah.
wrote The Jungle Book, which was also a Disney animated film. I was gonna say I think my favorite snake in animation is the one from the Robin Hood.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh,
sidekick
yeah.
to Prince
the
John or
hiss
whatever. Yeah.
or the little lisp or what?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so great. And then the animation guy gave him elbows that he could lay on, and like be all sad.
Yeah.
Like it was just
Yeah.
like so genius. So genius.
I like when he would get like super excited and his tongue would go in Prince John's ear. And he was like, "Stop, you imbecile." He was like,
Oh,
This
so
is bringing
great.
back so many memories that I
I
didn't know
know
I had.
it's yeah,
It's
so good.
straight up nostalgia. That's why this one is actually called this movies that make you nostalgic, because we are talking about Disney animated films. And I
Yes.
did mention before, Erin, Josh and I are going to let you guys kind of carry the top 5, and then we'll do ours kind of as honorable mentions at the end. And then if there's anything outside of like that animated realm you want to mention, I know Kyle mentioned one. Go ahead and mention it, because we're just going to open it up and have some fun. But if we stick the top 5 to like that kind of 90s animated and see where we land, I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So
Love it. Love
cool.
it.
Sounds great.
All right. Well, why don't we go ahead and kick it off, Erin? What's your number 5?
All right. So I had to do this speed. I didn't overthink it. I went with my top 5. I then sat there and questioned my entire life afterward, being like, how did this one not make the list? What are you talking about? It doesn't matter. That's fine. Here's what I came up with. Number 5, Hercules. Okay.
Ooh, good
I
one.
was so into Greek mythology as a child. I was raised Catholic. I don't know where this came from, but my cousins and I got this really awesome Greek mythology book. I'll have to like add the link or something. It's amazing. I bought one for Anya too. She's already learning. And we
Nice.
were so into it. We would play Greek gods and goddesses. Like I knew everything about it. Hercules takes a lot of liberties. It's not really the Greek mythology, but seeing it there on screen with Disney and the music, it's really hard to beat that kind of style and the gospel. Hercules had to be up there. It came in at number 5 for me.
Yeah, and I'll jump on the bandwagon here. It's not 5 for me. It is number 4. I'll give my 5 in a second, but just so we don't double back, and I'm
Yeah.
going to say almost all the same stuff she said about Hercules.
You played Greek gods and goddesses in
No,
the forest when you were young?
You found the
You
answer.
no,
too?
Yeah.
I just pretended that I was Achilles.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is apropos given. Anyway, moving on to anyway, I was a huge fan of Hercules. I can remember where I was when it came out. I was on a family vacation at Myrtle Beach, and we had rented one of those stilt houses with like all of our like cousins and everything. And speaking of snakes, actually, that's when I pranked my aunt. I put we got like a snake, we put it in an ice cube, like a fake snake. And then she like put the ice cube in her tea, and it was hilarious for us, at least. It was
Yeah.
terrifying, I think, for her. But but yeah, that soundtrack especially was fantastic. And actually, I'm wrong. The soundtrack, that's where we were listening to it. I actually saw Hercules at the premiere in New York. That's right, in New York City. So I don't
Dang.
think it was like it was one of the premieres. You know, they do a lot of the premieres, but it was
Yeah.
on
Uh-huh.
Broadway. It was in one of the Broadway theaters, and they showed the movie there. And we went
Dang,
with
that's
my
pretty
best
cool.
friend at the time, who was totally Greek. His middle name was Hercules, literally.
Wow. Shout
So
out.
it was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That is amazing. Yeah, I definitely this was one, so I was a junior in high school when this one came out, so I was kind of past the animated stage, but did revisit it when I got a little older and kind of started not being scared of animation again. And I do remember very much like the music's great, like the vases, the I can't remember what they're called, but yeah, the singing that they did from
The
the painted
muses.
The muses with the vases,
muses,
yeah,
that's
like
it.
on the art,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you got James Woods as Hades. I mean,
Yeah.
so great, so great. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh
such a
gosh.
great film. Lots of fun. A little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I definitely appreciate everything that it brought for sure. And that's kind of a shout out too, because we got the Odyssey coming out in a couple weeks as well. Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. For that episode, we're watching Troy, which features Brad Pitt as Achilles. We're going to watch 300 just to kind of get that sword and sandal, and then Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, to have a little fun with the story of the Odyssey in a different context. But yeah, a little shout out to a little plug for that upcoming episode. Josh,
Oh,
how
we're
about
not watching Meet the Spartans?
Meet the Spartans? Yes, we should
Dang
throw that
it.
one in there. Yeah.
I have my director's cut. I was gonna watch it, but I guess not.
Nice. You got anything for Hercules, Josh?
No, it's a great film though. I remember, 1997, let's see. I would have been 9 years old. Yeah,
Yeah, just
9
a
years
young
old.
guy.
Just a young pup. But yeah, same with the music. Like my parents met in a music group in college when they had me, and we, my mom was a singer and stuff. So I remember going to the theaters to see Hercules and like just how fun the music. I think we can all relate. Like the music was
Mhm.
really
Amazing.
great. Michael Bolton's rendition of "Go the Distance" is
Mhm.
pretty epic, and then that song was actually nominated for a Academy Award.
Yeah, very nice.
But yeah, fun one. I mean, great cast too. I mean, Keith David, Jim Cummings, Bobcat Goldthwait, Danny
Wasn't Danny
DeVito.
DeVito?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Danny
Yeah, yeah.
DeVito as Phil.
Phil.
Yeah, dude, he was awesome. Phil
Tate
Latifi.
Donovan. He was here. Tate Donovan was here. I didn't meet him, but I walked by his table. He was here at GalaxyCon like 2 years ago. And I really wanted to stop by his table just because like Hercules is so much fun. But I didn't have enough time in the day. But yeah, I mean, great cast, very fun music. Even like the animation, because I feel like Disney was kind of starting to make their animation a little bit more crispy, like looking at the time,
Yeah,
like the late '90s, early 2000s.
I was going to say, especially in regards to the animation, you notice it in Hercules, and I might be giving away another one of my picks here, but Mulan, and I think even like another one of my picks, possibly Tarzan. You notice, I
Ooh,
love how they bend the animation to make it fit with the story, right? So if you look at Hercules and the animation style they used, it's a very Greek influenced, animation style in terms of, like, we were talking about the pots earlier. I don't know what their actual names are, the urns, the pots, with all of that old Greek art on it. But
Hmm.
if you look at old relics and old Greek artwork, the way that they did the chins and the jaws and the over exaggerated muscles, or the under exaggerated waists, like, it was all very much in line, or even the hairstyles, right, for Meg, very much in line with traditional kind of Greek art. Obviously it's putting a Disney spin on it, but
Hmm.
it's got that aesthetic, and I think they do that very well in Mulan as well, with kind of like Chinese art, especially with the cannons, the cannon blasts, which I think it's like most notable in that, because you'll see a lot of old Chinese tapestry work and stuff where you have these specific designs for, firework blasts, cannon blasts, and it mirrors that. It's not trying to like mimic real life. And I loved how they adventured into those stories and went like head over heels to try to make every aspect of the story pay homage to the kind of setting where that story was told. And I appreciated that even as a kid. That like, it just made it feel more alive.
Yeah,
and didn't
absolutely.
it? I know there's at least one example of like breaking the fourth wall, but I feel like they did a few of those in the movie. Like, um, I know Hades says
Yeah. Yeah.
something about like he's like, "Come on, it's only halftime," and it's like at the halfway point of the movie.
Right.
And then I'm trying. I haven't seen it in a while, but I'm thinking that they're not just Hades. I feel like Hercules or Meg or somebody like looks at the camera a couple times and says something like, but maybe I'm remembering incorrectly.
I
No, that sounds
I
familiar.
would think that would have to be Meg. I feel
Yeah.
like Hercules was too innocent of a character to break
Right.
the fourth wall.
Yeah, it's
Did
fun
y'all
though. I
did
mean,
y'all
even the
see the
action sequences.
What do you say,
Yeah.
Aaron?
Yeah. No, just did y'all see the Instagram clip? The actress who played Meg, this has been going around my feed recently in the last like 2 weeks, where she was saying that her audition, one of the lines she did was so good that they kept wanting her, to redo it just like you did in the audition when they were actually taping it. And she went over and over and over, and they were just like, it's just not right. And they went back and they spent a fortune basically to clean up her original audition tape line and like got rid of the New York City traffic in the background and everything, and that's the line they used in the movie.
And today you could have dropped that into a program, hit AI dialogue isolate, boom, it's done.
Exactly. I
No
know.
cedar required.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I haven't
Yes,
seen that, but that's
Susan
interesting.
Egon.
Yeah,
There we
That
go.
was her name. Yeah.
very nice. Well, cool. Well, Kyle, that was your number 4, but let's hear your number 5. What you got?
Number 5 for me is Tarzan.
All
So
right.
I love Phil Collins' score on that. I think it's a fantastic, like, the music always, like, I still listen to the music in the gym to this day when I need like
Hmm.
something
Yeah.
super motivational, especially if I'm stuck in the bench press and I don't have a spotter. I'm like, give me something to get this thing off me. uh,
Nice.
but
And
it was
Jessica
just,
Biel's not there to help to bail you out, right? Is that what happened?
yeah,
Oh, I get it, because 'cause you'll be in my heart, like, the bar
yeah,
is, like, hitting is
might be in my
going
neck, but
into
yeah,
directly into your heart.
it just always, like, I don't know why. It just gets, when you get those, like, the tingles in the back, like the hairs in the back of your neck stand up, you kind of get
Yeah.
those tingles all over your body when you just like feel something. And it's probably connecting to, childhood. I think it came out in, 1999. So I was right on the cusp of, like, turning into a teenager slash was becoming a teenager at the time. So I think, you had a lot of hormones firing for the first time at that, specific time. So you're feeling things in a totally different way. And that being kind of a little bit removed from a lot of the other Disney films, where I know a lot of the films follow kind of a lone hero, through this journey. but like this character was like alone in a way that no other character before or since has been alone, where it's like literally just them in a jungle. And even the first interaction between the gorillas and Tarzan, right, is not a fun interaction. And these are his only friends, right, in the jungle, which is just crazy. And then like the whole story of Tarzan, like my dad was a huge fan of the Edgar Rice Burroughs books and kind of brought me up on those. And I'm like, just all the mythology of that character, I think, helped inform me while watching that movie, because it's just such a harrowing story to begin with. And the way he makes that transition at the end, and it's just cool, especially when you're like a weightlifter in your teenagerhood, like thinking about like, this guy's as strong as a gorilla. That's crazy. I could be that strong. I could beat a jaguar to death, with my bare hands. I just got to work out harder.
It's funny the difference, like between, I guess, girls and guys, and at least in our experience here, because for me, it wasn't like his strength that he matched the gorillas. For me, it was the way he surfed on those limbs.
That was
It's
cool
like,
too.
I want to
Yeah,
go
right.
surfing like that. I used to climb trees all the time in my backyard. I had 2 tree houses, and I definitely was like picturing and envisioning, if I lived out here and this was my house, like I could be surfing like that. I just needed a lot of practice. It did not happen.
Yeah, that does
Probably
bring-
for good. That's probably good though. We
Probably
don't
for
want
the
any broken bones. Or I know I would have tried to one try. I would have been out.
I
Yeah.
had some friends that would climb to like one friend in particular that could go all the way to the top of one of our magnolia trees, and I was just like,
That's
"Look,
horrifying.
I'm brave, but like
These trees are like
mm-mm,
60 feet tall.
mm-mm."
They're massive.
Jeez.
I was like, one drop, like I don't.
I don't know how she
Yeah.
she did that.
That's crazy.
insane.
Yeah,
Great
I used
movie.
to.
Great movie.
I just had a tree in my grandparents' front yard that I would climb, and I'd take up like old pieces of wood, and I would pretend like I was making like a spaceship or something like that, like all the different panels that I'd play on, just pretend I was on some adventure. Who knows, right? But that's what you did as kids. And
So
movies
cool.
like this give you like even more kind of fodder for your imagination, So it's good stuff. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I watched the movie a few times probably, but it didn't again, it was at that age where I was kind of out of the animation game, but definitely the Phil Collins stuff, the music, I still like sometimes at karaoke, like that's one that I always like hope somebody sings, because it's just like, so it just hits you. And like I've seen a lot of the clips where people are Phil Collins did not need to go this hard on a Disney
Yeah.
animated film.
Waiting to say the same comment, just like the Michael Bay. Like you did not
Yeah.
need to go, or not Michael Bay. For
Michael
Pirates
Bolton.
of the Caribbean, is it Hans
Yeah.
Zimmer?
Michael
Yeah, like
Bolton.
you
Hans
didn't
Zimmer.
need to go this
Oh,
hard.
yeah.
And then the
Exactly.
piano's on fire on the beach, like
Oh,
Yeah.
that's Hans Zimmer's best work. We
Oh,
actually got to see Hans Zimmer live in concert at USC when we were out in
Nice.
California. And we went for one of my birthday presents. The only qualm I had with it, I think the seating was kind of like the Phantom of the Opera seating. I don't know if you guys have been to that on Broadway, but or I don't even know if it's still running, but it's in an old theater, and these old theaters are made for people who are very much not my size. And so,
yeah.
you're sitting there, you're like, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying
Yeah.
this the whole time.
Yeah, I went on a trip. I lived in Austin for 1 year, and we took a trip to DC for like 2 days, and then we took a bus to New York City, and it was like me and I don't know, 8 kids from my class, 8th grade class, and then a teacher and one parent went with us. And we went to like Times Square, and we went to all this, but we went to Phantom of the Opera in that old theater, and it was it was awesome. I loved it. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, because we've had some of those venues at, not just in New York City. Like I've been to some venues where I'm like, who are these made for? Like
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
chairs, like you do realize there's people that are probably double the size of me, and I'm barely fitting in here. So
5'2", and I remember sitting there being like, "What the hell?
And
This is so uncomfortable."
And my
Yeah.
brother was with us, and my brother makes me look small. So I was like, now, to be fair, my brother doesn't complain about anything until he complains, and then he complains a lot. But
Yeah.
like that happens once every 15 years. So
It's
He
kind of
was
one of
like,
those things. Like I'm 6'5", and so I'm
Oh my
fairly
God.
large person. And a lot of people go, "Oh, I'm like, but I've been 6'5" like almost my entire life. So like, you just get used to always being in a tight spot. But then there are like, we went and saw Taylor Tomlinson in her stand-up routine one time, and it was in an older theater here in Dallas. And I was like, it was old wooden chairs too, and like little flat fold down wooden chairs, and it was just like, oh man, I'm glad we like each other because I'm having to stretch out a little bit and take over some of your area, but most of the time it's fine. Like the back seat, I know how to sit in the back seat and be comfortable, but man, some of those small theaters for sure. And I do have to give one more shout out. I think I might have sent it on the live broadcast at one point, but my vocal teacher, I got voice nodules in my vocal cords in 2014 and 2015.
Mm.
And so I ended up getting vocal coaching from David Gashin, who played the Phantom in Germany for 7 years, and then on Broadway for 7 years after that. So I've got a little connection to the old Broadway stuff. So
Yeah, that's so
that's
cool.
awesome.
it was awesome.
That's
It was fun.
crazy.
It was fun to work with him for sure. Very cool. All right, Erin, what is your number 4?
Okay. So for number 4, I got Aladdin. And I gotta be honest
Ooh.
with you, most of it is because of Robin Williams.
I was
Most
just gonna
of it,
say.
it's a great movie.
That's
It's a great.
Yeah.
number 4.
I know. Trust
That's
me.
number 4.
Trust me. Just trust.
What?
I know. But you know what? At least I'm honest. I went rapid fire, and this is what came out.
Guys,
So
I'm
Do you have
sorry.
it-
Here
do
you
you
go.
have it on
take
your
it
list,
back.
Kyle?
I'm
Take
gonna
this
leave
ring.
it.
So you got to,
Take this ring.
yeah.
I don't think that there are many people in our age group that would not have Aladdin in the top 5.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
what can you say? Robin Williams,
Number 4?
number 4.
Do you have it higher, Kyle? Is that what you're saying?
I'm guessing
Okay.
it's your number 1. It
It's
better
his
be your
number
number 1.
0.
All right.
I
With
said-
this
I said
reaction, it better be number 1. Yeah.
Let's talk about Aladdin later.
It's Aladdin minus 0.
All right. So that means that, Erin, we're back to you because we've already done Kyle's 4. So what's your number 3?
All right, number 3, Beauty and the Beast.
Nice.
Ooh.
Classic. What is your problem? Over
I'm sorry.
here?
I'm just learning so much about you during this.
I can't wait to hear yours.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I love how the Disney episode is the
It's bringing out all the drama.
the
yeah.
one that's like,
we
no, this is
obviously-
it.
Yeah, we've got some issues here. We didn't talk
Make
That's
about this
okay.
at all.
You know
either,
what?
too,
I've got
so this is all a surprise.
I've got the perfect way to solve all of these problems. 2 years when Anya's old enough to understand all of these movies, we're gonna let her rank them, and we'll see what she says. I promise not to influence it too much by prioritizing toys and shirts and stuff around the movies that I like more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So do you have
rewatched
that one
it when
higher
she was
too,
a
Kyle?
newborn.
Just a little bit. That's not
Just
as
a little higher.
egregious.
Yeah.
No, I would go with. So I'll let me just for the sake of this, I'll rearrange my list. I'll switch 2
What?
of them.
No. All right,
Okay.
fine. Tell us what it was and what you're changing to, because you're changing midstream here.
No, okay, I'll keep my list exactly as it was. But we can talk. I've already knocked her off. We could talk about it now.
All right. We can talk about Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, what number is? Well, whatever.
Look,
What's
Beauty
your
and the
number
Beast
3?
for me is number 2.
Hey,
Okay.
that's good. That's one
I've
away,
got it
right?
at number 2.
Yeah. So
So-
let's talk about it. Erin, why don't you go first?
It's classic Disney. It is an absolutely incredible love story, a harrowing journey. The supporting characters are amazing. The music is beautiful. It came out at such an amazing and important time in Disney animation as well. It's great to rewatch at any age and any stage of your life with anyone as well. I rewatched it with Anya when she was just a newborn. I'm sitting there bawling my eyes out, being like, how have I waited years to rewatch this movie? It's a classic for a reason, and it probably deserves to be higher. But you know what? For my list, it's number 3.
I'm just giving you a hard
It's
time.
number
It's
3.
okay.
I'm giving you a little bit of sauce back.
No, it's
This
no,
is going to be
I
great for
find-
the Instagram, though. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
I think I might
ZombieCon
have.
Volume 2 is gonna be amazing, though, because of this drama, you know?
Yes, all from the Disney. I'm dying to know your list now
I
too.
feel
Now you
like
just got me so curious.
I may have put 6 on my list.
Oh, there you
Okay,
go.
we'll get back to that. I may have messed that up.
Well, I
Okay.
had an honorable mention, so that's okay. We can talk about that too.
Okay, well, yes, Beauty and the Beast,
Number
obviously,
2 for you.
obviously fantastic. Like it for me was like, first off, I love the villain Gaston. Like again, I think we're going back to the muscle theming here. Uh,
Oh.
but I also love the Beast. Like it had. I think that I hope that Aaron will at least bring up Lion King on this list, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. And that is a fantastic movie.
We'll have
But
to wait and see.
with Beauty and the Beast, I felt like you had everything that Aaron talked about. You had these fantastical elements. You had a courageous, intelligent kind of heroine who was kind of solving the problems in a totally different way. But you had it juxtaposed with this kind of like overtly, macho, masculine beast, right? So you had kind of the brawn and the brain mixed together in such perfect unisonness that like it created the perfect yin and yang for each other because they were both kind of overdeveloped in their own aspects. And then seeing those two things paired together and kind of each rub off on each other, right? You see Belle get more forceful in the way she deals with problems. She's all of a sudden, she's fighting off attackers. She's kind of involved in the last siege and, trying to stop Gaston from killing the beast. And I don't think that's something that her character could have done at the beginning of the movie. I think she would have shrunken away from it. And the beast, of course, becomes gentler and more thoughtful. And I mean, you've got some of the best music in all of Disney. Some of the best. I mean, Be Our Guest is like,
Yeah.
especially back then. That's like, I know everyone takes computer generated imagery for like, granted nowadays, but back then, seeing like thousands of dinner plates like spring up and dance around and do all this stuff, like we used to watch movies with my family and like while eating dinner, and I would save a piece of pizza specifically for Be Our Guest because that was like, I gotta save some food for this. Like,
Yeah.
join in the feast. And I never tried the
Absolutely.
gray stuff. I don't know if it was delicious, but
Nice. I
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely iconic. And it
And
is very funny when you're talking about Belle's journey because I meant to mention that as well. It's, she's a strong, independent woman, before all this modern.
but she is strong and independent, but it's in a realistic way. She leans
Right.
on her father. She loves her father, right? She takes care of him, but she's also reliant on him for a lot of things. It's a beautiful relationship where she has been forced into a position of needing to carry the torch on so many of these things because of maybe his maladies and where he is. Uh, but she has found a way to reasonably cope with it within the framework of the reality of the story without breaking, the kind of reality given to us. It fits perfectly. It's a perfectly derived story about extremes where you can balance those extremes in such a realistic and beautiful way that you not only feel it, but you feel like you're a part of it and that these characters are like real people.
And it's kind of cool as well that it's almost ironic that she wanted to, of course, get out of the town, have adventure and all that, but she wanted to go explore and see the world outside just the tiny village. And she got to do that while inside, stuck, prisoner in a castle, in one location, one's even smaller than a village, if you
I
will.
don't think I'd mind being stuck in a castle with
No.
like
Right?
160
No.
acres around me. Like that would be
Yeah.
And the
if you told me
library
that
for
was my
dreams.
prison for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I get every movie I could ever watch in a private movie theater. I mean, we're making a very good case for staying in the castle.
Yeah.
Heck
For
yeah.
sure. Beauty and the Beast is number 3 on my list as well. It is up
Nice.
there. And I think it's the music, it's the classic story. We actually just recently watched. I watched Frankenstein for the first time. We talked about it when The Bride was coming out. For that Prepisode. But I watched it for the first time, and it's that classic tale of there's a monster, we got to go take him out, and then Beauty and the Beast kind of borrows that as well. The villagers and everybody show up and with pitchforks and fire, and they're going to burn the beast alive or whatever. So it's got those classic elements. But one of the things that stands out to me about this is that dancing scene while they're singing where she's singing the love song, that Mrs. Potts is singing the love song. and the swooping movement of the big huge like it's like a huge camera swoop, and you're just like, I don't know that I'd ever seen anything like that in animation up to that point. It was one of those really cool visuals. I think, like you said, maybe a lot of things that they started doing animated wise, to expand the way that they told these stories beyond just kind of the classic way that they'd been doing with the others, it's like Snow White and the Rescuers Down Under, and they were really trying to push the envelope on what they could do with animation and still have it be very much Disney brand. So, but taking these classic stories and retelling them to a modern audience with these fantastical visuals was great. Be Our Guest is great. The
100%.
the journey that the beast goes on. It's also that moral journey. It's teaching our kids a lesson about how not to be selfish and not to be rude. And then Shrek does a little bit differently, where it does kind of the same thing, but kind of flips it on its head and says, no, the beast actually, that is their true self, and it's okay to be that. You don't have to be pristine and beautiful all the time. Not everybody has to be that way. But for the story of Beauty and the Beast, it made a whole lot of sense that he returned back to his human self because of the curse being lifted, because he was, even with that awful look, he was able to feel love and be loved in return. So just a really cool moral, like, hey, don't judge a book by its cover, and also treat people kindly, because otherwise they might turn you into a beast.
It's important. It's
And
important too.
and can we give an honorable mention to the Gaston song?
Yes.
I mean, come on, that is
No one.
I mean, I haven't done it yet, but now I'm compelled. The next time that I'm with my guy friends, I'm gonna put that on while we're all drinking beer to see who reacts to it and who
I
doesn't.
thought you were
I
gonna
have
say
a-
eating like 6 dozen eggs.
I have a strange feeling because in LA, right? If you put that on, everyone would be like, singing along with it, all this stuff. In Atlanta, all my LA friends are, the creative types. In Atlanta, these are a lot of my college friends. So they're much more like, accountants, lawyers, finance people. So I think it'd be very cool to see how they'd react to it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Josh, you got some thoughts for Beauty and the Beast?
Oh yeah. So Beauty and the Beast, you guys all nailed it on the head. I mean, it's incredible, but it's such a pivotal movie, not only for animation, but for me. That was the very first movie I ever saw in the movie theater. My dad took me. Um, I remember vaguely, I was like 3 years old when it came out, but yeah, that was like the first time my parents ever took me to the theater to see a movie. So a very special place in my heart because, I love movies, obviously. Secondly, it is not only the first animated feature to win a Golden Globe for Best Musical or Comedy, but it was the very first animated feature to be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. And that's even more incredible because back in the 90s, we only had the 5 nominees for Best Picture. So
Right.
Beauty and the Beast was up against Silence of the Lambs, which ended up winning that year, JFK, The Prince of Tides, and Bugsy. So, I mean, it was in good company, but that's just insane. They didn't actually have the Best Animated Feature category yet. And that didn't come until 2002. So that's even crazier because they didn't have that category back then. So it made it all the way into the Best Picture. And then just one last thing, the score, Howard Ashman, he passed away like 8 months before the movie came out, and he was nominated at the Academy Awards for 3 of the songs that he worked on, and then they won one Academy Award for Beauty and the Beast, obviously, like the main song. So this movie was his last piece of work, and he got so many accolades, but he didn't even get to see it because he passed away before it came out. But it makes it that much more beautiful for the film. So pretty fun. But yeah, it's definitely high up on my list just because it was my first movie I ever saw.
And I think there's one other statistic that I wanted to mention is that this was re-released in full 70 millimeter, not film, but the full IMAX back in the early 2000s, like I think 2002. And I don't know that there's any other Disney animated film that's been done in that format, because back then it was just, you had to convert it post whatever. So I actually got to see it at the golf resort, the International Golf PGA thing in like in Florida. So it was showing, and I was like, I gotta go. So I drove out there and watched it. But seeing it in that format on that huge screen was
Oh,
amazing. So
That's awesome.
beautiful.
That's
And
cool.
I know what
speaking
you're
of
gonna
Lou
say.
Ashman, I know you are. I don't know if you guys have seen it, and I would recommend it to anyone.
1, 2, 3.
Waking Sleeping Beauty. It's a
there you go.
fantastic documentary. It goes over basically all the films we're talking about. It's like kind of the Disney Renaissance. It was created by one of the animators who's the director of the film, who ended up going on, I think, to direct one of the films himself. And it explains the entire process of how it worked. It explains the inner workings of like the Disney C-suite, and the tensions between Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg and Frank Wells, and kind of how that tripod of power within the company operated. And after the untimely passing of Frank Wells due to a helicopter crash, it kind of talks about the derailing, as well as Lou Ashman, who was kind of the creative force for a lot of these films. Even if he's not directly credited on everything he did, he was kind of, he's coming from a Broadway background, and it was reintroducing the magic back into the films. And, honestly, anyone who loved Disney films in the 90s owes Lou Ashman and Alan Menken, who helped him write a lot of the songs, a great debt of gratitude, because their creative prowess, especially Lou Ashman, was like, single-handedly responsible for creating some of the best cinema, and, stories, and especially music. Because,
Right.
we go back, of course, the Pixar movies coming out nowadays are great. I'm not trying to knock any of these new movies or Toy Story or anything like that. But when you can mix music with basically timeless music with a timeless movie, you are 10xing the longevity of those films, and you're creating more than just an experience that someone has once or twice a year by rewatching a film. You're creating something people live by. It's, music that they might listen to, in the car driving to work, or, for me at the gym,
At the gym. Yeah.
over decades and decades, and you are a part of people's lives, and for the better. It's all positive messaging. It's about overcoming problems like we're talking about, like, obviously with the Beast, with all these characters. And it's like, that's the type of messaging, especially I think, that is so healthy for kids, right? It's like,
Mhm.
yes, life's not perfect, but it's not really about the hand that you were dealt. It's about how you deal with the hand that was dealt, and believe in yourself, and anything is possible, and just keep fighting for what you believe in. And it's like kind of a universal theme in all these movies. And it's a message that, I think we kind of got so used to hearing back then, that movies started to get avant-garde, and they're like, oh, well, now we've got to have the hero die at the end, or we've got to do this crazy thing to be like, spicy. And it's like, yeah, that was cool for like a short-lived time. And you've got like, Fight Club and a couple of these movies that, went left when you could have gone right. And it was definitely unique, and they have their own place in history. But man, would I love to see a resurgence of just good old like storytelling, where it's positive and uplifting, and maybe a little cookie cutter. Maybe people would be like, oh, that's boring, that's lazy. I'm like, it might be lazy, but no one said making, pizza's not the fanciest food, and we all seem to like it just fine. So
Yeah,
sometimes the simplest things are better than the more complicated things.
for sure.
I think you can watch that doc on Disney Plus. I think it's streaming on there. So
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a fantastic documentary. It's in my top, like, it probably is my top, well, in my top 5 of documentaries, if not my number 1.
nice. I
It's
might watch that
fantastic.
tonight, actually.
Awesome.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah,
It's
please
so
let
Yeah.
us know. Yeah,
That sounds. I love good documentary. So
All right, Kyle, we're on your number 3,
number 3.
but you have them all out of order now, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a little bit all over the place. So okay, I made a mistake.
I-
I did
Okay.
6. And then I
Fair enough.
remembered a 7th when we were talking. So I
Are we going forwards or backwards now then?
no, we'll go with my number 3.
And then we'll do the honorable mentions at the end.
Okay, we'll do the honorable mentions. That's fine. So I know this is going to probably be higher for you, but I was going to go with The Lion King
As
as
number
number 3.
Mm,
So
mm. Maybe you'll have to wait and see. That's
it's
interesting.
got to be on your list.
Well, I'm just gonna keep you in the dark
I
because
mean,
I'm ready to see you get very upset.
well, anyway, I hope they're different because I want to talk about so many of these films. So I hope that they're
Yeah.
different. But yeah, so Lion King for me, like a seminal moment growing up. I think it was for like an entire generation. You've got obviously let's start with the fantastic songs, fantastic story. You know, we see the story on a much longer scale than a lot of the movies, other than maybe for Tarzan, which might be an equal length. Right, we're seeing from child all the way to adulthood. Um, but I mean, from obviously Mufasa's death, which I think traumatized an entire generation of children, to Whoopi Goldberg as one of the hyenas, which is absolutely hilarious. Timothy Irons, I believe, right, who plays Scar.
Jeremy.
Jeremy
Jeremy
Irons,
Irons,
sorry,
yeah.
Jeremy Irons, and like what a fantastic performance! Like Timon and Pumbaa adding, the comic
James Earl
relief on the
Jones
other
as
side, like
Mufasa.
the grubs, everything about that film, just it takes such a difficult concept, right, where you're taking all of these animals who are not anthropomorphized. I know I just butchered that word, but they're not acting like humans, right? They're not standing up. It's not like we were talking about
Zootopia
uh
or whatever. Yeah.
the Robin Hood, right? Not like we're not like they're not dressed in clothing, right? This is like kind of like they are animals, but we're seeing this whole world. And I mean, I don't think there's probably a parent alive who's not at least thought about, it may not be the safest thing, but thought about raising their child up and like showing it to a room of people. Like, it's
Yeah.
at least been a thought in a
Yeah,
crowded
for
room.
sure.
So it's just iconic in every single way, and it's just a fantastic film. And the animation is beautiful. The story is beautiful.
I'm ready to jump in when you're ready. I think I'm gonna surprise you here. It is my number one.
All right, I thought it'd be your number one. I had a
Dang.
feeling it was going to be your
Yes,
number
you know
one.
me well. I
Yeah,
couldn't hold back anymore. Lion King did something to my heart as a child. Yes, the trauma of I always had to fast forward through Mufasa's death after the first time I watched it. I don't even know, maybe a couple times I've gone back and I haven't fast forwarded that, but it was that traumatic, that well done of a scene, that impactful. But the overall story and the art and the music and the way that everything gelled together, the characters, the voice acting, everything just was like perfectly gelled together and just hits you in the heart, hits you in the feels. I think I, as a child, developed like my personal guilt complex was like after watching Simba deal with his guilt and thinking, that all of this was his fault and carrying that. Like there were so many emotions that that movie explored in a way that the other Disney movies maybe touched on, maybe did. But for me, Lion King just hit home on all of them. And then his arc, his return home, his facing his past, his facing what he knows he can be and taking care of the family that he's and the whole pride that he knows is his responsibility, and Timon and Pumbaa coming with him and fighting alongside. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, impactful, emotional. Lion King has always been and probably will always be my number one favorite Disney animated film.
I love when Timon and Pumbaa come running into that fight, and Timon
Mhm.
is riding Pumbaa. He's like,
It's
he's like, I
So
think he
great.
grabs his tail and he's like, "Back off! I got a
Yeah.
This thing
warthog
is
here."
loaded.
Yeah.
Oh man, just the Rafiki moment when he's like, "Correction? I know your father." And you're just like,
Yes,
"What?"
Yes, yes.
And he
I
goes and
do
goes and
feel
shows him and it's just mind blowing for all of us as the audience, just pulling back and showing, look down, and it's just oh wait, and he slaps the water to make it
Oh
distort
god.
just enough to make him think he's seeing his father because he looks so similar. And then of course the line that I'm getting emotional even just thinking about is and the theme of the whole thing, and the theme that we all should take and walk away with from that movie: remember who you are.
Mm.
Don't try to be anybody else. Don't feel ashamed. Just be who you are, and that's enough. That's all you have to do. And it's something I think we want our kids to grow up knowing and believing, because they're going to go through life. We've gone through life and had a lot of people judge us, a lot of people think bad about us, and sometimes we might try to curb our actions and curb our ideals based on trying to make others happy. Like, the whole point of life is just, no, we were given a purpose. We have a certain thing that we're supposed to be. Live into that. Do that. That's it. That's all that you have to do as a human being, is just live into who you are, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I wanted to bring up, you brought up a beautiful moment, right, with Rafiki under the tree, under the, dark, Savannah sky and everything still. And it's so crazy. I was watching Black Panther, like, I don't know, maybe a year ago. And I
Yes.
was like, why does this seem so familiar? Obviously, I've seen the movie before. I'm like, no, it's not that. And then I was like, Lion King. I'm like, this scene was stolen directly from the Lion King. We've got like the forefathers and the stars and everything's right above. And I'm like, okay, this is, I mean, look, a lot of art is like stealing from the greats. So I don't begrudge them for it, but that was definitely seems like it was ripped right from Simba's journey in that moment. And then of course you got like the panther element and the lion element. And I'm like, okay, I see how they got here.
All right. Well, now, and I got to bring something comedic up because what you said earlier about, I think every parent's had that moment where they feel like they want to raise the child up. For me, I, it's not like I didn't dream of that, but I will say that while on the gurney on the table for my C-section and meeting Anya for the first time, my first glimpse of our child was over that curtain that they have in the C-section, and one of the surgeons lifted her up, and I see her just raised above like that with, the beautiful hospital light shining
Oh
down
yeah.
on her, and it
Was
I
was
a
like
could have
squash
read the
banana.
room. I know they light it for, medical professionalism and stuff, but that room could use a relight.
she looked
Yeah.
beautiful. She looked stunning. It didn't
It was
matter
Oh, I
what part.
agree.
crazy. It was crazy. All the nurses began to bow, just to
Yes,
pay
yes,
And
it
homage to.
was. It
The
was.
gazelles started hitting their heads on the.
Mhm,
I was
mhm.
wondering how they were allowed in. I was like, where'd all these animals come from?
Yeah,
There was that big hit.
Yeah, that's great.
you're like, who's doctor in here? Doolittle?
When going, I don't know if this is really that relevant, but since we're talking about it, during her C-section, she had an emergency C-section. This is right as like the Meta glasses are kind of like not new; they're in their second generation, but no one really had them. And I have a friend who works over for Meta, and he actually told me about them at our wedding. And he's like, Kyle, like, trust me, you make movies, like, if anyone needs these glasses, it's you. Get these glasses. And I'm like, all right. I mean, it can kind of seem like a joke. All right, I'll try them. Well, fast forward, we kind of made half a movie with them. And then I'm wearing these things in the operating room, and I have my cell phone out, and the nurse is like, or the doctor's like, you can't, or the nurse says, you can't film with your phone. And I said, just to clarify, I can't film anything with my phone. And she's like, yeah, you can't film anything with your phone. I said, with my phone. She said, yeah, with your phone. I said, okay. And then I continued to record the entire thing with my Meta glasses. And, obviously it's got the light on, but none of them had seen them yet. So I'm just
Yeah.
recording and I was like, technically I've broken no
No laws.
rules.
Yeah.
We got those
Awesome.
first moments of like her holding his finger and reaching out, and us talking as she's being born and seeing her. We have the actual shot of her being lifted above the curtain from our
That's
POV.
awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, can you just put her back in for a second, then lift her back out? I need a better angle.
I need a sec. Yeah, I need a second. Yeah. Cool. Josh, what are your thoughts on Lion King?
Yeah, I mean, you get what Kyle originally said, like how or maybe it was Aaron, but just like how pivotal this movie was. I mean, I remember when it came out, like what a big deal it was, and not even the music aside, like the music's fantastic, but just how powerful of a film it was. And I think like the mid '90s was that was kind of a crazy time, in the USA and stuff too. So I think people like really resonated with it for other reasons. But it was yeah, it's just such a great film. It's the for VHS for our physical media people. It is still the best-selling home video cassette of all time. I think it sold like 55 million copies or something like that. Um,
That's crazy.
Amazing.
just some other fun things. Oh, one crazy thing that I learned recently is about the Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Apparently Elton John they did a screening like a month before the movie was supposed to come out, or like 3 weeks before the movie was supposed to come out, and he noticed that they took that love song out like completely. So like Elton had to like get a hold of Jeffrey Katzenberg and like convince him to put it back in the movie because it was so important.
Thank
And so
God.
they did, and then he won an Academy Award for that song. But it was like almost not in the movie, like they took it out, which is insane.
Can you
Um,
imagine?
Well, you'll see in
Jeremy
that
Irons,
oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
No, I was gonna
No,
say
go
you'll
ahead.
see in that documentary that there might have been a reason why Jeffrey Katzenberg didn't have as much love for Lion King as he should. He got kind of attacked by one of the lions.
Oh
Oh
dang!
wow.
Not
Like
really,
in
not really attacked, hugged, embraced.
like
Embraced.
in that movie Roar, where all
No,
the real
so they've
they all
got
really got attacked.
so the animators when they were animating the movie, they brought in a bunch of animals for reference, and they brought in lions. And you'll see all of this in the documentary. So I don't want to spoil too much, but in the documentary, you see him get up on stage with the lion. And look, he's the head honcho, right? He's the guy who runs the animation studio. He's got to be a strong leader. You're running basically a room full of 100 of the most insanely genius creatives on the planet. If you don't have some sort of button on that can get away from you really quick. So
Mm-hmm.
he's got to stand in that position of power, and he goes up next to the lion, and the lion just embraces embraces him, and you could see him trying to hold it together like, I'm big, I'm important, I'm supposed to have all of this under control. But you could see it in his eyes. He's like, oh my God. This
Mm-hmm.
is horrible. He plays it off very well. Like no hate. Like he plays it off very well. I would not have gotten that close to the lion.
Oh
I would have
no!
like
Yeah.
stood from the side of the room and been like, everyone see the lion? Draw that.
Yeah.
But
Do not go near it.
but yeah, it's a crazy moment. I mean, yeah. But anyway, watch the documentary. It'll be more entertaining than me
Yeah, I
talking.
can't wait to see that. It sounds so like I just love a good documentary. So, um, also kind of crazy. So the "Be Prepared" song,
Mm.
which is amazing. I think that's one of my favorite songs in the whole movie, just because I don't know if it's Jeremy Irons' voice mixed with like the kind of like choir and stuff. It's just such a haunting song, but it's so cool. Apparently, like one of the last lines in the song, like "You won't get a sniff without me." He did that like so hard, when they were doing the final recording that he like hurt his vocal cords. So actually, Jim Cummings, throwback to Jim Cummings, who we just talked about for Hercules, famous voice actor. Obviously, he's Darkwing Duck and Winnie the Pooh, and he's everybody's voice. He's Ed the hyena in Lion King, so like he does the crazy laughter pretty much. But he actually had to come in and like record that that line of singing as Jeremy Irons, like to finish the song because Jeremy Irons like hurt his vocal cord. So that's
Mm.
how talented that individual is. Um,
That's incredible.
Also, another throwback to what we were just talking about a second ago. The score in this movie was done by Hans Zimmer. So
Mm-hmm. Yep.
fantastic, amazing. Um, but yeah, just overall, I mean, it's just such a fun movie. Great, voice actors. We have obviously you talked about James Earl Jones and all them, but we had Jonathan Taylor Thomas as young
Yep.
Simba. Like he was huge in the '90s. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, Home
Mhm.
Improvement was like one of the top shows. Yeah, it was. Sometimes I watch the reruns like to put my son to sleep. Like like, just because it's on Netflix, so we'll just throw it on. Um, and then he did a bunch of movies when I was, around the mid '90s. So he was a hot name, and then Matthew Broderick was older Simba. We didn't even talk about Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson as Zazu. Like,
Nice.
so
Zazu.
So
I
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
learn
so
that
great.
until like years later, and I used to watch Mr. Bean with my dad, and I had no, I like for the when I was a kid, I definitely didn't realize that. I didn't put two and two together, and then when I got older, I like was working at the video store one day, and someone, I think I just like randomly saw the like cast list, and I was like, Rowan Atkinson. I was like, who the heck was he? And then I found out, and it like blew my mind. So,
It was
um,
really
Well,
crazy when the
I,
toucan went over to the keyboard and went ding 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 ding.
right.
Remember his performance at the
Yeah, his
Olympics?
little stand up. Yeah, he's
and
so funny.
I'm gonna say I didn't know that until this moment right now. I had no
Really?
idea.
Dang.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. No, like, cause you don't think, like, cause, I mean, I watched pretty much all the stuff he did, not just Mr. Bean, but like a lot of times you don't hear him. He doesn't have a ton of dialogue. So for him to like be proper and be like the voice of Zazu, like you wouldn't have thought that. I just thought it was just some random actor. And then years later, when I found that out, I was like I said, I mean, my head fell out of my butt. I was like, oh,
I think
Rowan
I think
Atkinson.
I think that guy's actually like a certified genius, like
Oh yeah, no,
125 IQ, like super
yeah,
brain.
he has like his I think he has his doctorate. Yeah, he's got like a couple of high degrees. Same with like there's another person who you would never think, Dolph Lundgren. Like
Oh yeah,
he's like, yeah, he's got like three different high degrees that, yeah, it's just crazy
That's
what people
awesome.
can do.
is he's a molecular biologist or
Yes.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what his degree was in. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's an interview with Sly Stallone where Sly's like, this guy
Talking
walked on
about
set
it. Yeah.
and I absolutely hated this man. It's like, 6'4" or whatever he is, like chiseled out of stone, this blonde hair, blue eyed dude, chisel like coming up here. Oh yeah, and he's got a couple doctorates and in my like macrobiology and
Right.
everything else. And
Just
he
to
has to
rub it in.
interpret all this through the Sly Stallone accent. And of course, that Sly's like notably very short,
Yeah.
compared, especially compared to Dolph Lundgren, right? He's looking at this guy like, damn.
He's like, "Are you
Yeah.
serious?" Yeah.
That's awesome.
who invited this
Well,
guy?
Well, what a perfect role for him. I mean, come on. They literally they found that's like when casting hits like the absolute jackpot. It's like I need a Russian super soldier. Oh, there's one right there. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
exactly.
So good.
Exactly. All right, Aaron, well, you're number 2.
All right. I don't need to look at the list. My number 2. Wonder if you're gonna guess this one. What's your guess?
Mulan?
Mulan. Wow.
And
Mm.
that's on your
You're
list
back
too, right,
in.
Kyle? Is that
Mulan.
on your list too?
Yes.
Yeah, it
Back
it
in the
was
game.
so that was the one I doubled up on with number 3 with Lion King. So I figured she would
I was
say
about
it.
to say your math is not math, and
I know it's not. Listen, it was a very rough day for me today, and I redid my list at the last minute, and
okay.
I
Okay.
threw it into like chaos. But I'm
Yeah.
happy that you said it because
Yep.
it does have
Mulan.
one of the best songs of any Disney song. Be a Man. I mean, we all here have danced to that song and envisioned what being a man was like. Was that part of it? No.
All, all, all of Mulan is
It
incredible.
is great.
It is incredible. I watched that movie so many times. I think that one is endlessly rewatchable. It's such a great story about stepping up and fulfilling whatever role that you need to in order to protect your family and protect the ones you love and become stronger, like all against all odds, against every odd. And the music is incredible. The characters are incredible. It's funny. I mean, Eddie Murphy is Mushu.
Oh God,
Hilarious.
such a
Hilarious.
so good.
It's got a great villain. It's got great pacing throughout. I don't think that Mulan has any weaknesses as a story, as a movie.
No, and
The grandma's hilarious. Would you like to stay forever? At the very end.
Oh
I
well,
mean, it's just
Well, what about the matchmakers? Hilarious.
Mhm.
And like her
Mhm.
getting everything wrong, and you feel so bad for her. And like, I don't know. Obviously, I'm never looking at my life like I've got to put on makeup and do all this stuff. And, I'm a kid when I'm seeing this. So I'm not thinking about all the social dynamics and gender roles and all this stuff. I'm just seeing someone who's not succeeding at something that I'm like, well, those are kind of mistakes that aren't her fault. Like the cricket, like causing all these problems, like clearly not her fault, but she's trying to make it better and she's not saying anything and she's kind of grinding with it and just allowing it to happen. And she wants to make her dad proud. And you can see the inner turmoil and you go on this journey. You just feel so bad for you. You're like, come on, you could do it. And then it's like when she starts, when we're going through that huge song, I think it's the Be a Man song or whatever, but when she starts getting those two heavy plates and she starts wrapping them around that pillar and she gets to the top and pulls the arrow out and it's like,
And they're all watching her,
yes,
and she's
yes.
just
It's
sitting
like
up
that
on
is,
top.
and that was like, like I was like, I remember as a kid, like that was always the
Yeah.
high point for me. I was like, yeah, we could do it. We could all do it. Get to the top, get the arrow. Come on,
There are
baby.
so many moments and so many quotable moments too. Like I was about to name 1,000 that are hilarious ones, but then I got to go back and give a shout out to the dad when she returns home and she's bringing, I brought you the sword of
Yes,
San
yeah.
Yu from the emperor. The greatest honor is having you as
That's
a
my
daughter.
daughter.
It's like
Oh,
just
Yeah.
tears
good.
pouring. And then
Yeah.
you got where she's trying to aim the cannon. She's got the one shot and she aims it at the mountain instead. And it's Mushu. You missed. He was 3 feet in front of you. How could you miss? Little do they know, boom, the avalanche starts. Genius. Like it's
Yeah.
just
The Mushu pretending to be the elder dragon,
yes.
holding up the big stone head. Like, yes, I will protect the entire family. It's like-
Yes.
and the grandmother, whoever's in there, is like, thank you, elder dragon. He's like, of course. And I'm always thinking, like, did Mushu just kill one of his dragon relatives? Like, they're kind of like incarnate beings that rely on these totems to incarnate. It's like, did he just behead the great dragon? Like, is it done forever, or is it going to come back like with some super glue?
And when Mushu is surfing down on the helmet and he's looking for Mulan and he's just like, nope, as he's pulling Hun's hairs and he just lets them go back in and then he gets the cricket and he's go, you are one lucky bug.
Yeah, that's right.
It's so great.
God, so
It
that
is
was
so
Eddie
great.
Murphy, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he did that and Donkey.
And Donkey.
Right.
Crazy.
I mean, those are two of like the most iconic
Hilarious,
animated
amazing.
characters
Yeah.
in all of history. Like that is,
It's
God,
insane.
that guy is so
Yeah.
good. I mean, he's also
And
a
it's-
fantastic just actor in general, but I mean, just a comedic genius.
Yeah, absolutely. Mulan fell into that realm where I did probably see it when it came out because I was a senior in high school, and so I wasn't necessarily paying attention. But I did watch it eventually, and yes, it is great. There's a few songs in there that were really moving to me as well. I actually also enjoyed the live action one that they released like in 2020. Watching that in the epic, live action sense, it was a great retelling. But I think especially the whole gender role situation, her dad not having a son and her wanting to step into that and overcoming all the odds and then actually being able to be her true self eventually even in this more masculine army. She is actually does reveal that she's a woman, right? And then she's still accepted and cared for because she accomplished everything already and stuff. So there's that whole like overcoming odds and again not judging people by the cover, the book by the cover kind of thing. That's also a story, a tale that we need to hear more often than not. So yeah, good stuff. Great stuff.
What happens is she gets kicked out because she's a woman. Then she rides back right in the battle with the avalanche scene, right? And then she ends up taking out like all the Huns, and then they let her back in. So again, a perfectly sewn needle, right? It's not breaking any of the rules of the reality that they set in. They're like, this is the culture. These are the rules. These are the rules you got to follow. She breaks the rules. She's out. Okay, she's out. She makes this heroic decision to come back. She then saves everyone's life. Everyone's indebted to her. And then it's complete trust. And then you get that freaking fantastic ending with all of the soldiers now reversing roles, where now all the soldiers are cross-dressing as women to get into the castle,
As the concubines.
to save
Which has
the
been
day,
like
which
the
is
best,
like
some of the best
so
cosplays, because I've seen a
amazing.
bunch of people do that cosplay at like
Yeah.
various
I want to
cons,
do
and
that
it's always
cosplay.
such a fun. It
Oh my God,
looks
that'd
like
be awesome.
a fun experience. They always look like they're having a blast.
Oh God, and they kill
That's
it too, like
amazing.
that. And you got to know so much about these characters. Again, it's just in that, for me, it's like that one, the song, right? Be a Man, right? You get these three like side characters' backstories, and by the end of the song, you know them better than if they all had like, they would all have to have like their own movie to almost know them so well, which is just the absolute genius of Disney firing on all cylinders and giving you perfect visuals matched with perfect storytelling and perfect music. And it's like quintupling the amount of information that you should be able to take in within that time, or 10xing it. Like it's just so packed with story. It gives you so much for such a little amount of time. Perfection. Chef's kiss.
Simply put, yeah.
Josh, what you got from Mulan, buddy?
Well, the big thing is I love how Mulan kind of honored a lot of the, you know, Asian actors and actresses who had been around for a long time up to this point. I mean, you had BD Wong, who is Dr. Wu in Jurassic Park. You had James Hong, who's in like everything, Big Trouble in Little China, and just so much more. Pat Morita, obviously, Karate Kid. Um, George Takei. They even had Jackie Chan was in the. I read that Jackie Chan was actually on the Chinese version. Like he added some like voice work for the Chinese version. And then one of my favorites is Getty Watanabe, who's from like 16 Candles and UHF. But I just really like how they, even some of the actresses, they kind of honored by having them in this really pivotal Disney movie. It was also the first DVD that Disney ever put out, like a Disney movie that was put on DVD. It was the first one,
Nice.
which is cool. But yeah, it's a great movie. I didn't rewatch it recently, but I kind of want to. I kind of want to show my son. I think he'd like the music and stuff, and he likes Shrek, so he probably would like. I think he would correlate that was Eddie Murphy. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, and
Mulan's
you
a
got Ming
good
Na
choice.
Wen as Mulan. So
Oh
that's a
yeah,
cool
yeah,
connection too to the to other things that we've seen. So
yeah.
very
She's a
cool.
Fennec Shad in Star Wars, which reminds me of my son as well, because there's a Fennec Shad Book of Boba Fett Funko Pop of her character, and it's like cheap every like you can get it for $5 at like Ross and all these like it's I always see it all the time and I never buy it. And then my kid always like looks at it when we're at the store. So I went back to Ross the other day trying to find it, and of course when I'm trying to look for it I can't find it. But I found the Biddy Pop version of it. So he has a little Biddy Pop of Ming Non Wen as Fennec Shad, but it's
Nice.
just so funny, like, every time I see that pop, I think of her, but I think of my kiddo, so that's
Yeah,
funny.
it's awesome.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We did say that my number one was Aladdin, but we didn't talk about it in all of its glory. So I just wanted to give it a huge shout out. Obviously, talk about the genius of Robin Williams, right? Again, I mean, I feel like a broken record talking about it's the story of the guy who does the thing, and it's amazing, and it's so it's like energizing and impactful, and the music is so fantastic. So instead of talking about all that stuff, which is obviously 100% true, talk about the fact that Robin Williams as the genie brought something that was completely unique. Now Mushu wasn't far from the mark, right? Mushu was very similar in a respect to being, a funny sidekick, fantastic job. but I'm sorry, Eddie Murphy. I got to give it to Robin Williams, the GOAT, the number one, and especially for him as probably the most genius improviser of all time, who could just riff with anything. And there's so many behind the scenes all over the internet of him just going on these complete rants and making it so articulate, and the breadth of world knowledge that he composed and can manipulate with just, seemingly effortlessly dance through the sea of life through a reality that most of us find complicated or difficult. And he's taking all of these concepts, throwing them in a pot and creating something that can universally be funny to everyone, while simultaneously being extremely introspective and like high IQ, but also like accessible. Just genius. Is like there's not like I know the word's thrown around all the time. We were talking about Mr. Bean and Dolph Lundgren earlier, and yes, they're certifiable geniuses and all that stuff. Yes, they may have degrees, they may be great, they may know all this stuff, but I'm sorry, they don't give you a degree for creative genius because they'd have to give out so few, almost no one would have one. But if there's one man, I think everyone could agree deserved, earned it, owned it, brought meaning to the phrase, is Robin Williams. And his creation of the character of the genie, I think it was almost more impactful than almost everything else we've talked about tonight. Like, that singular character changed Disney as a company. It changed the world in many ways, and it created a whole new
World.
Ah.
See, if I was as smart as Robin Williams, I would have gotten there first.
So not to
Nice.
get off Robin,
Very, very well done. Very well done.
not to get off Robin Williams, but I think that in a very similar way, his unique character that he created there, the only character and actor that comes to mind similarly is Johnny Depp with Captain Jack Sparrow, in terms of taking something that maybe had some bones in the script and making it his own and making it such a lovable, interesting. Now, I'm not saying that it's the same genius
Fair.
or as interesting, but I'm saying as creative
Yeah.
and unique of and iconic of a character.
I would totally agree with you, and I'm not going to put any character actor down. I'm just saying that the way that Robin Williams rewrote the script in the booth, right?
Yeah.
Like almost
Well-
none of the lines that the genie says
He had enough
were
material
were
for
in
them
this.
to make that movie all the way from like a G to like an X rated.
Well,
said.
they could have
Just kept
remade the movie a
going.
million. Like, editing it was like almost
Yeah.
impossible, and it was the perfect character for him, a character that can do anything. So
Mhm.
he could flex that creative genius to the fullest extent, and he did. And I mean,
Yeah.
when Aladdin's stuck in the cave, right, and we have the genie song, and like all the different characters that he's doing, and he's like, there are 3 wishes, and he's doing all these different voices. Like, none of
Mhm.
that's in the script. None of it's like,
Right.
okay, act like a French waiter while you're reading off the 3 wishes. Okay, now act like this, old actor as you're reading off the ghoul line, like you can't wish for death on anyone. Like, that's all just him, just riffing. And it's, oh God, it's so,
And I remember
so organic.
even as a kid when that came out, like I remember hearing the news stories of how this movie changed the way that Disney did animation, because up until this point they were watching the animators' mouths move, and they were doing voices to the mouth movements that the animators already drew. But with this one, they flipped it for the first time because they had Robin Williams in there. They're like, we can't animate this until we know what he's saying. And they've kind of changed the way that they were doing the animation. Erin, what are your thoughts, Aladdin?
I really can't add too much more. When it comes to Aladdin, it is a great everything. But when you think Aladdin, you think Robin Williams, you think Genie. He made that movie.
Yeah.
He made it.
And he had specifically written a clause in his contract that he was like, it couldn't, the genie's voice couldn't be used for some sort of commercial purpose outside of the
Yeah,
film or whatever.
merchandise and stuff. Yeah.
So we took a huge
And
pay cut.
Of course, they used it for everything because, they saw the movie. They're like, oh, this guy, okay, this is the movie.
Yeah.
All right. And then there was a huge fight. And I think and now look, it seems criminally underpaid now. I think they cut him a check for like $1 million or something. And in my mind, I'm like, Should have been at least 2 more zeros connected to that check. That was
Mhm.
Right.
that's crazy. I mean, he used the genie everywhere. He was the entrance to that old VR what was it called? Disney Quest in Disney
Oh, yeah.
World.
Oh yeah.
He was the entrance to the entire thing. Like you got in the elevator and the genie would sit there and talk to you about getting in the, elevator and like blast off and do all this stuff. I mean, he was everywhere. He's all over the parks. He's the genie, man.
That's the
He's
number one
just
actor I
awesome.
think I'm the most disappointed that I'll never get to do a scene with or like
Right.
acting with. I mean, meeting him as a human being would have been
Right.
incredible. That probably would
Mhm.
Mhm.
working, but working creatively with him would have been insanely iconic.
Yeah, I remember where I was when he passed because I was living with JJ at the time, or Punky Johnson at the time, and she came in and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Why? What happened?" She's like, "Robin Williams just died." And it was like one of the only times where a celebrity passes, because of course you feel for like these celebrities who pass, but you don't know them. They're a part of your life, but they're not really.
But the memories, yeah.
It's like I could always go back and watch movies. So of course you feel for their families, and there's a passing. I actually was like, that one hit home because it was like I felt
Yeah.
like it was more than just losing an actor. I felt like the world lost a collective treasure, and it was someone who could bridge alliances between any two people on the planet, no matter what their differences are. You said two people who absolutely hate each other, hate everything about one another. Okay, 15 minutes with Robin Williams in a room, and they'll both be balled over laughing. It's
Yeah.
like, and that's the universal kind of healer that our society, that the global society had, and it was just, I think the
I
world
think
was lost a
Steve
huge,
Irwin was
yeah,
another one that
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, true. That was
Yeah, I think Jimmy
devastating.
Fallon, he did. I remember when Robin died, I was either Jimmy Fallon, one of the late night hosts, they did a huge, like you could just tell how devastated they were when they announced it on the air. Might have been Conan actually, I can't remember, but
Yeah.
yeah, Robin just you hear all these. I just watched an interview behind the scenes with Sally Field about Mrs. Doubtfire, and
Mm.
she like got a call on set one day that her dad passed away, and she just kind of went on and was kind of in a daze that day of filming, and Robin was like, "What's wrong?" and whatever, and she said what happened, and he's like, "Okay, well, we're wrapping for the day," and, like, that you guys know better than anyone, like, cutting for the day early and, like, wasting all the resources and stuff is not an easy thing to do, but, like, Robin was like, "No, we're closing down. Sally's going back home for a few days, and, we'll reconvene," and Sally just said she's never experienced anything like that before, so it's pretty cool, but, yeah, Robin was, another thing when speaking of Aladdin, when he was filming in the booth doing I think they said that he had, like, 16 hours of unused they had enough to, I think you can actually except for the R-rated stuff, they still haven't released that, but a lot of the unreleased stuff from the sound booth, you can find on the, I think when the first Blu-ray, the platinum Blu-ray came out for Aladdin, I think the bonus features have it on there if I'm not mistaken, but,
Nice.
um, a really crazy thing was, his one of his best friends, Steven Spielberg, at the time was filming Schindler's List when they were making Aladdin, and so Steven, obviously Schindler's List was just a devastating film and just so hard to, like, get through, so Spielberg would conference call Robin in the studio, doing the genie, and he'd make him do, like, an
Yeah,
act
stand up.
basically to,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
cheer everybody up and, like, cheer the whole crew. They were all around like, a speakerphone in a conference room just, like, trying to laugh and kinda get away from Schindler's List for a second, so, you can just tell anything you saw him in, like, people go back and rewatch that Whose Line Is It Anyway when he showed up as, like, a
Yeah.
guest, and, like, he just like, he was so quick on his feet, he was so good. Um his stand-up routines, like, they were golden. I mean, he just came up with ridiculous things, but they were all pretty accurate. And I think the genie definitely like he'll be remembered for that role for sure. Mrs. Doubtfire, he has so many roles that he'll be remembered for, but I think Genie just like hits home to so many people because especially if you grew up in the 90s, like I was a 90s kid. And I remember, that was some of my first performing was like I would learn the genie monologues and like perform for my family at Christmas time and they all got a kick out of it and I was like, this movie's so fun. I love Aladdin. So yeah,
Yeah.
good choice.
And I
Yeah, I
gotta
think
say,
I
Disney out of sorry, real quick. Disney out of all of the remakes and sequels and reboots, give us the R and the X-rated cut.
Oh no.
Right?
Release it.
that would be hilarious for
I
sure.
think they should at this point. I mean, at this point, just we might as well.
May as
Let's do it. Let's
well.
honor Robin. He would want it. He'd want us to hear it.
Yeah. For me, I think Aladdin is number 2 on my list.
Mm.
And it's up that high for me. I'm a romantic at heart too, so Genie definitely awesome. But I also just love the love story between uh, Prince Ali and Jasmine. That whole desire, I think, for feeling as a kid that you're not good enough for the beautiful woman, you're a street rat and all that stuff, and then finding yourself in a position where, oh, I can have her love now because I'm rich, and then it's like, oh, that's not actually what she wants either. So it's kind of like people being accepted for who you are was a fun thing for me. But I think the music of A Whole New World. I know we already talked about lots of music in all these films, but A Whole New World for me was one that I just loved as a kid. Sang it over and over and over and over
Mm.
again. So,
Mhm.
uh,
Mhm.
yeah, but great film all around. Robin Williams, insane. And I think some of the epicness, the epic finale of Jafar being the huge. I mean, it's just visually, it's got some cool things going on too. So, yeah,
Did
good
we
stuff.
just come full circle on the snakes? I'm a snake. I'm a
I'm a
snake.
snake.
I'm a
I'm a.
snake.
I did that the other day because Jess said something. She was in the driveway and I came running out. I was on the phone with her and I was like, I'm a snake. And she was like, you not right now. I'm a slithery snake.
That's
Come here.
amazing.
Not having Little Mermaid on my list did make me feel really.
That
It
was
made me feel
that was
some type
another
of
one that
way.
was on my list too.
Yeah.
It got edged out.
Oops.
I should have put that definitely in front of Tarzan. Now that I rewrote my list a couple times.
You
Like,
did the opposite. See, I went with I wrote it and I'm like, I'm not changing my feelings. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
You wrote, but we ended up in the same path there that we both felt bad about not putting because it is an incredible,
no, we should have said
a
it.
whole new
We're
world.
horrible
I
human
mean,
beings,
Yeah.
and
yep,
we'll be. This is
that's
a
it.
black mark on our lives forever.
Yep.
Yeah, this is-
Well, the only ones we didn't have off of my list, number 5, I had Snow White on there as the OG animated film. So just as kind of like an honorable mention, honestly, because I couldn't think of a number 5. But
Mhm.
Little Mermaid
important
was
one.
my number 1. So that's we got it in finally. But yeah, Little Mermaid. And it's on there at number 1. Of course, we got the beautiful Sebastian's amazing. The Part of Your World, the music, Under the Sea, just great. And then I think for me also, it's the first movie I remember tracking how many times I'd watched it. So that's why it's also on the list that high, is because it's the one when it came out. I saw it in the opening weekend randomly. My mom, we were at the mall. We're gonna do some shopping, and she's like, "You want to go see Little Mermaid?" I'm like, "Yeah," because we never went to the movies when I was a kid, and so it was really cool, like to do that kind of off the cuff. And then when it came out on VHS, it was like I just had it. So I stopped counting at like 30 when I was a kid.
Oh my
So,
God.
but yeah, so it's one of those. So that's high up on there. And then, like I said, Snow White's on number 5, just as a kind of an homage to the fact that it began this Disney animated journey.
Beautiful.
What you got, Josh?
Yeah, I was Little Mermaid. I don't really have like a place like the spots for mine, but Little Mermaid's definitely in my top 5. That was one of my mom's all-time favorite movies. She was a singer, like I said, and I just that was one of the few movies when I was a kid and even like growing up that we could, kind of talk about because like it was my mom didn't really like watch movies a second or third time very often. But like Little Mermaid, she really enjoyed. There's some other movies, like That Thing You Do. She loves that one. That's one of
Oh,
my all time.
so
That's one
good.
of Sprang and I's favorite movies too. Um, but yeah, so like she has a few movies, but Little Mermaid's definitely one of them. So I had to put that in my top five somewhere. And then Beauty and the Beast, like I talked about earlier, just because eh, I do love Beauty and the Beast. I don't know if I'd put it at number 1 for me, but, like, it's very important because, like I said, it was the first movie I ever saw on the big screen, as a kid, so it was good. Alice in Wonderland, I gotta put in there because that movie, to this day, like, that movie just opened my wild imagination. Like, I had never seen anything up to that point at a young age. And when I watched it on VHS for the first time, I just remember like, what the heck? Like it was so trippy, but it was so I mean, I was just intrigued. I was infatuated with what was on the screen. So I had to put Alice in Wonderland. And then it's kind of a toss up, like there's there's a couple like I really love a goofy movie, mainly for the music.
Yeah.
But it's just a fun one. Um, Peter Pan, I mean, is another great one. That's just another like kind of imagination one. Peter Pan, I've always liked that story, like the book, and I remember right before. So I was working at the video store, and I had a friend named Brian who used to come to the store all the time, and he had a friend who worked. She's part of SAG, and then she knew she worked for Disney technically, but she, like, knew some people at Disney, and there were rumblings that Disney was gonna, like, do a new trilogy of, like, Peter Pan movies or something like that, and so, she asked Brian if he knew anybody that wanted to, like, kinda get something together to, like, maybe present to, like, on a Zoom call or like, this was before Zoom, but, like, maybe do a call or fly out there or whatever. So my roommate at the time, we performed in college. We did performing arts. We like did storyboard, like he did all these storyboards, and we did like we got probably I don't know the first quarter of the movie idea down. And it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. But then like they like 3 weeks later after we started working on stuff, they announced Pan with Hugh Jackman and, like, Warner Brothers did one,
Mhm.
and it bombed really bad. Um and so, like, I mean, Peter Pan was already failing at the starting point. But I had so much fun, like, seeing my friend's vision for, like he had this whole thing about Neverland because we don't really get to see Neverland a whole lot, like, so he had all these, like, booby traps and, like, there was, like, a training, like, how the Lost Boys would, like, train to go into the wilderness and do all this cool stuff, and, he had, like, ideas that he presented to me in our apartment, like with songs choices that he had in mind for like trying to present them in a cool way. And I was like, man, this is so awesome. Like if this trilogy could like come to fruition, it'd be so cool. And then they announced Pan and then that failed. But I've always been infatuated with like the story of Peter Pan just because it's, fantastical and like um deals with, your inner child and trying to grow up and being an adult. So that one is definitely on my list as well. And then
And
Aladdin, like we already talked about.
and
And not
another
not to
Robin Williams reference with the
I was
hook.
you're right.
Oh
I was
yeah,
about to say we went full circle, right? We've got
and Spielberg.
Robin
Yeah.
Williams and Spielberg, and then going back to what Aaron said, Johnny Depp in Finding Neverland, which is a story
Oh
about the person who
yeah.
wrote Peter Pan, which is also another fantastic movie.
Yeah, it
Also,
is.
fun fact: did you know that Hook was almost directed by Nick Castle?
I did not
Wow.
know that. That's
Yeah, he
crazy.
if you look on the credits, he's credited with part of the screenplay. But he was hired on originally, and then Spielberg, like, took it over. So, like, Nick Castle yeah, that's just crazy to think about, but yeah. Michael Myers almost directed Hook, which is cool.
Wow.
Well, real quickly, you guys had some other honorable mentions. Just want to shout them out.
Well, I know I had
Little
messaged.
Mermaid was the main one that I was thinking
Yeah.
of that I was like feeling
Nice.
really guilty about not having, because I saw that. I was very young when I saw it for the first time. I was taken to a theater. I was probably just a little bit older than Anya is now. I'd have to look at what year it came out, and I was born in '87, so it came out in what, '89, right? I think Little Mermaid did, or something like that.
Oh, Little Mermaid.
Sorry, I don't mean to make you guys
No,
Google.
you're good. 89.
Oh yeah,
Good
you're right.
call.
89.
Yeah.
89.
So I was like just 2 or barely 2. And my parents had to take me out of the theater because I was like screaming when Ursula came on screen. And you had to think, for like a 2-year-old, not knowing what a movie is and seeing this giant ship-sized creature come out of the ocean. And yeah, it's probably a subconscious reason why our production company is called Big Squids
Squid.
Productions.
I was
Oh,
just gonna
nice.
say, very
There it is.
impactful memory. Yes.
Truly.
I was gonna ask you if you knew that that was the first movie that you saw in theaters, because I knew that because your mom and I had talked about that.
They talk. I don't know.
I was about to give you a little.
Nice.
I was about to show off my knowledge there, but I guess you beat
Well,
me to it.
Yeah.
I like vaguely remember it, and I can't tell if it's a memory that I actually have or it's a memory that like I've reconstituted because I've been told that it happened. But the terror is still real.
Well,
The
you passed
share
it
is
on to
real.
Anya because we were at Disney World with her, and she only went on a couple of the rides, and it was
Oh, she was
exclusive Magic Kingdom.
horrified
And in
of
Little Mermaid, she was like sort of
Oh
okay, she was
no.
sort of digging it, and then we got to the Ursula,
Ursula.
and she was just like, "I'm out."
I'm out.
She was
No way.
horrified. Yeah.
That's right. She also went on in Epcot as well. She went on Spaceship Earth, and pretty much the entire thing, she was like, "No,
Well, yeah, that's
no."
overwhelming.
She wasn't.
Yeah.
Like 9 months at the time.
It's like Judi Dench being like, "This is the breath of human history." As you stare up like on your back at a ceiling full of things. It's when the ride opened up, especially into like the moon's out there and
You're in
all the
space,
stars, and
yeah.
it's like, you're now outside the world. And she was like, "No,
Too trippy.
no."
Too much. Too much.
Man, is that ride still going?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that ride is
Holy
the
cow.
best.
Oh
We
yeah,
still have
I remember when
Steve
I was a
Wozniak
kid.
in his
Like,
shed. We've got everything still in there.
dang. Yeah, I remember going to Disney a couple times when I was a kid. I got no biggie. I got Ariel's autograph in my little book when I was a kid.
There it is. Now
No
we know where all the
biggie,
autographs came from.
I don't know how you pulled
She
that one off.
winked at me.
The best thing about our trip when we took the boys was that Tinkerbell winked at Colton. And that was great. He was very embarrassed and shy. It's so awesome.
So, because of course of the nature of this channel, gotta ask, did you guys ever go on the Great Movie Ride before they sadly discontinued it?
I don't think I probably
yeah, I
did
don't
as a
think I
kid,
did.
but I can't. I don't
Guys,
remember.
oh
it,
my
yeah.
God,
I probably did.
all right. New mission.
Epcot, right?
I will become the CEO of Disney just to put
To
the Great Movie
reinstate.
Ride back so you two can
Right.
ride it, because
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is
First
it's-
order of business.
it is
That's
the
right.
literal like
Second order
It's the
Captain
important
EO.
stuff.
Come on,
Yeah,
Captain EO.
Captain EO.
Captain EO was great.
Heck
No,
yeah.
I love
It was-
changing, and all that stuff is great. At least Figment that replaced Captain EO. It's a Disney character. It's a solid ride, like the Imagination Institute. Like, I dig that. And I dig the ride that's in the new space where the Great Movie Ride is. It's now got
Mickey
like
and
a,
Minnie's Runaway
Runaway thing.
Adventure, I think.
but it's got like they changed the art style to a very like Red and Stimpy art style, and which like doesn't like really connect with me with Disney. I always viewed that as very like crude Nickelodeon type animation. But the ride itself is quite fun. Unfortunately, it unseats possibly for cinema fans, cinema lovers, anyone who is a fan of movies, like one of the best rides on the planet Earth, which is the Great Movie Ride, where you did ride the movies. It was
in a little boat floating down.
It wasn't a boat.
Going
It was not a boat. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but people are going to destroy you in the comments. It was definitely not a boat.
Why was it not a boat?
It was not a boat. It was a large, basically vehicle that sat like 12 people across, 10 rows deep. You had a conductor at the front who was not really, but somewhat driving the thing, and it operated on a track. And you went through the scenes of the most famous movies in all of history. And depending on what if you got in car 1 or car 2 in the beginning setup, you got a different story where in one car you'd have your person jump out at the wilderness or at the cowboy shootout, and they would then heroically come back at the jewel ceremony. In the other car, they jump out in the city gangster shootout, and then they would heroically come back at the jewel ceremony. And your car would be basically, taken over by this gangster or, outlaw. And they would like take you through the rest of the ride. And they would always go through the aliens part. And the outlaw or the gangster would always be like, what's, obviously canonically with their character, right? So you had like the gangster being like, what's this stuff here? Like all this goo. I don't know what this stuff is. And you had like the outlaw who's like, this old cowboy person be like, I don't know what's up around these parts. These don't look like horses to me, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it was a kind of all ad-libbed, and these were all actors. And it was just such a fantastic experience. Like,
Okay, well, it felt like sailing into the cinematic imagination. So I guess that it felt like it was a boat to me.
I had all my gray hair.
Now that you're describing it, it sounds familiar.
That ride.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I hope at one
They
point
had Casablanca. They had the Wizard of Oz, where they actually had the witch came up out of the ground with a bunch of smoke. She'd point to it was an animatronic witch, but she'd point to all the cars and she'd be like, you, and she'd point at one of the conductors who was driving the thing and be like, and the conductor would be like, me? And it ended in this kaleidoscope of just all the greatest movie clips of all time, which was possibly the best part of the entire thing. I mean, just a montage, like the likes of which you've never seen on a screen bigger than an IMAX screen. And you're sitting there with the other cars next to you, and it's the end of the ride, and it just bop, 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 and all the famous lines, and Indiana Jones running away from the boulder, and Gone with the Wind running up the stairs, and just it went on. It was,
the movies that made us.
It is probably the biggest reason why I'm a director today.
Yeah,
is because of that ride. So shame on Disney for getting rid of it.
You should have paid all that money and renewing all those licenses. It would have been worth it. It would have.
Yeah, that is why. Yeah, I think that's why they had to get rid of it.
Because they were not.
Yeah, they were coming up on their lease. They had a deal with MGM or whatever. Who knows?
Anyway,
but it was.
Anyway,
awesome.
Neither here nor there. Sadly,
I'm sure that there's videos of it on YouTube somewhere of someone who's like, with a
big.
Oh
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much again, Erin and Kyle, for being a part of this podcast. We are just so thankful that you took the time to be a part of it, and we're excited to have you on for a creators conversation here in the next few weeks. That's going to be awesome. We'd love to hear about autonomous and also just where you guys' love for filmmaking and movies. Go in a little deeper on that too. So thanks for joining us this week, and everybody else, guys, we'll catch you next time. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to jump over to our website, moviestomakeyoupodcast.com, see all of our links. Follow us on Instagram so you never miss an episode, a live stream, or an interview. And until next time, keep watching movies.